Yeah, good evening, YouTube. It's your boy Zod back at you. But anyways, man, basically you already know what time it is. I like to talk about politics, so I'm gonna go into politics. And just for the simple fact that somebody lost their life today due to politics, it's something I felt I needed to talk about. For the byline and the title of the video, you already know. Basically, somebody lost their life in Portland. Now, the media is painting them as far right, or they belong to a far right group, and then that which somehow made them a skinhead or alt right or something. They like to paint different depictions of people which that they don't really know anything about. And I'm not here to, really judge these particular how should I say, media outlets. I'm just here to say that, a lot of times they don't get the whole picture, and they kind of, depending on what side they lean, which most social media outlets is leaning more towards the left anyway, and those that may be right in the middle are leaning more towards the right are tend to be a lot more scarce because they're not considered politically correct or the more popular channels to watch, if you get what I'm saying, especially for those that may be patriotic. People see that as I won't say, well, to be a patriot now is to be considered disgraceful in a lot of people's eyes. They tend to paint you, you got to be right, you got to be far right, and because you enjoy your flag. But that's besides the point. I enjoy a lot of flags, but you know what I mean. As far as like being for this country, there's a lot of us that love it. You know what I mean. Regardless of what's taking place, we still afforded certain opportunities, especially those of us that have had a record and have had any type of criminal record in the past. Like, a lot of people like to use the excuse that, oh yeah, it's because of my record I'm not able to get certain jobs, and that's cool. If you're unable to get that job, then you go on and you get another job. There's other countries that once you're a criminal, you're just trash, and they won't give you no job. And for some reason, people fail to realize that in this country there is opportunities for us, and they continuously shift laws in order to make opportunities open to us. And for the people that constantly come on here and they're like, the left this, the left that, the left really are not doing anything for us as far as like trying to better us as a people. They continue to divide us by using the same narrative. They are the right ones, and the right is, it essentially trash, when in fact is total opposite. Right now, everything that's taking place is because the left is pushing a certain narrative. I have friends that participated in protests, and I'm not gonna say whether they were Antifa or not, but they were actually paid to go out there just to participate. And I see there's a lot of people on my social media that actually get paid to go out and protest, because, and not just to protest, but to opposition to the right. And it's just something that, you know I'm not going to go into Soros and all the other things that these weirdos do. But as far as like even the most staunch leftists are starting to see that the left has in fact lost their mind. They're doing a lot of things that are just way out. I have friends on my thing that are, they might be considered communists, or some might be considered far left, but they're starting to see that it's a little bit too far, all this discord and what's taking place. And you may be a left and disagree with somebody from Antifa, and they're willing to try to bust your head. But due to the fact of how we are in inner cities, or, well, I'm not really in inner city, but for the people that live in the inner city, they really don't take lightly to people trying to press a certain line, so they kick you out. They did it. Half the Antifa protesters that were in Los Angeles got pushed out because nobody in these particular neighborhoods wanted to deal with them. Because it's one thing to get your voice out there and protest, but you wanted to tear up things and tear up neighborhoods that have already been tore up, in the little businesses that they did have right there. You were destroying them. You know what I mean? I'm one of those that everybody's entitled to voice their own opinion, but when it comes down to it, you have to, it's one of those things that you got to be cautious of what you do and what you say. Like, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. But especially when you're in inner cities, you're not going to write on the walls because that was somebody's neighborhood, whether it's negative or not. They don't want you there. They're going to kick you out. And it happened. You know what I mean? The people that ran Antifa out of Los Angeles and all these surrounding counties was in fact the neighborhoods of, the gangs and people that just weren't having that, and that's just something that, when you do look down upon these people, you got to realize sometimes these are the ones that push the hardest line. But that's besides the point. So basically, I'm gonna go ahead and show you exactly what I'm talking about, the negative narrative that the media is putting on those that did go down there. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not pro-Trump, not anti-Trump. I'm just, he's the president. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? And some people may not like that, but it's life. Okay, so right here, I'm gonna start it, but there's another video. I'm gonna show you the actual shooting. I don't know exactly what channel this is, something CBS, Canadian, whatever, but I will put the link in the description. But okay, here we go.
The plan was for thousands of the president's supporters to drive their decorated vehicles around Portland.
We just want another 4 years of him doing great things for America.
But some in the pro-Trump caravan veered off the planned route, going into the city's downtown core.
See, this was the truth right here. They did veer off, but I mean, it's America. You can go where you want. Now, I mean, everybody's looking for trouble right now, but yeah.
Where startling confrontations with counter-protesters unfolded. A Trump flag is burned as insults and items are hurled at the vehicles. Trump supporters shot paintballs from an open truck bed and fired pepper spray. The evening turned deadly when a man standing in front of this parking garage was shot. Not much is known publicly about what led to this moment, but the victim has been linked to a pro-Trump group.
For those of you saying on Twitter.
Okay, so we ain't really got to go into all that. It's just one of those things. Basically, you see what happened. You veered off course. You went down. You confronted them, and all the depictions of in the videos was the pro-Trump supporters shooting at Antifa, but they didn't show the fact that Antifa was in fact blocking the streets. Now, if anything, if you know you're dealing with people that can get hostile, especially a patriot, you're not going to block their streets. So basically, both sides were looking for issue. And what came out of that is the fact that somebody lost their life. And that's what happens. People don't understand. They continuously dance around the subject, but it is basically war on the street. It's just what it may not be, the typical or traditional war, but it's basically every man for, not even every man for himself. I'll bring that back, but it's basically one against the other, and it's gonna stay like that. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to people about. Understand this, like, protesting is one thing, but when you're out there tearing stuff up, you're not helping your narrative. You're only looking for chaos. Anarchy will not rule in this country, and it's been proven many times over. If they need to squash it, they will. But that's one of those things that's nor here nor there. But basically, I'm gonna try to show you another video of the actual shooting. And this one, I think I know exactly who it's by. Well, not necessarily who it's by. I'm not gonna say the guy that did it, even though it's funny that the guy that supposedly did the shooting, they've already caught him. You know what I mean? Like, and what's funny about that is because they said actually it was his sister that turned him in. Like, already had, so it's like the man did the shooting, he was already caught right then and there. How did the sister call and let them know before? It's crazy, but it's one of those stories. When it comes to politics, it's always going to be things like this, you know what I mean? But, and especially right now with the way society is going, it's in an upheaval, and politics are not doing it any better. Look, I'm just gonna say this: if Trump wins, it's still gonna be the same. Democrats are still gonna push a certain narrative, and anybody that goes against that is going to be considered racist. And it's funny to call a person racist that actually is black, which I find it funny. But anyway, it's like this one right here. This is the actual shooting. This is by, let me see. They said a Portland Oregon live stream captured the fatal shooting near downtown protest. I'm gonna warn you. I've seen it, and it is graphic. This is by who? Organ something, Orgonian, I think, but I'll put the link in the description. So yeah, let's just show you. And basically, that's all I'm gonna say on that. That's all I'm gonna show you on that. But that's basically where society is going right now. A lot of people that fail to realize that we're basically at war, and it's the left versus the right, whether people choose to see it or not. And every other subdivision group falls in between, and that's what happens when politics are racially, how should I say, charged. Because this but this sorry about that. This race is all about race right now. It's white versus black versus everything else that doesn't align with that. And that's because certain people push certain narratives. And like I said, I got friends that are far left. I got friends that are just leftists and Democrats and just libertarians. I got conservative friends, some that are far right, not so right that it's just white, you know, you know what I mean by that. But yeah, so basically this is the new America until things are settled. And like I said, if Trump does win, it's not going to change. Democrats are still going to push a certain narratives. They're going to constantly let pedophiles off, because that's basically what they do now. They let a gang of pedophiles off and they don't hold them accountable for nothing. And Hillary, Hillary, we know about you, and eventually you're gonna get exposed. People need to really pay attention to why all this stuff is taking place and what's being hidden. A lot of these cats are mad because they're being outed. Their pedophilic ways are starting to get exposed, and now they came with that law. I don't know if it's passed yet, but they came with that law that's kind of makes them exempt from being prosecuted. That's why they have these, uh, behind closed doors. They have these. It's it's one of those things. But basically, look, this is what happens when you pit the left against the right. Antifa is one of those groups that you know eventually things like this there's only retaliation for, but for the most part there's been a lot of things that's been taking place. They just don't put names on it, but that's nor here nor there. Hopefully you enjoy the content. I will continue to cover political things as far as what's going on in the news when I feel like it's worth talking about. On that note, I'm Zod. Soon the podcast will be on Zod versus everybody, and that's when I can really get because YouTube likes to demonetize absolutely every video. This will be demonetized. I won't even try to monetize it, and it's a long video, but I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. Regardless of what side you're on, understand that you're being played, and that's basically it.